It's Friday, February 10th, 2023, and this is the Washington Times front page. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The State Department says China has been conducting balloon surveillance for years and monitored dozens of countries in doing so. Guy Taylor and Joseph Clark report a State Department official said the Chinese government has flown its fleet of spy balloons over more than 40 countries across 5 continents. The official said that U.S. agencies determined the balloons were clearly for intelligence surveillance and not on civilian missions to collect weather data, as Chinese officials claim. The revelations did nothing to cool anger on Capitol Hill toward China or ease bipartisan concerns about the Biden administration's handling of the incident. The House, on a unanimous vote, passed a resolution that condemned China for what lawmakers called a brazen violation of United States sovereignty and denounced the Chinese Communist Party's attempts to deceive the global community with disinformation. The House also voted to block the District of Columbia's plan to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections, with lawmakers saying the city was crossing dangerous lines while trying to expand its pool of voters. Stephen Dinan reports Washington, D.C. is the latest big city to try to grant voting rights to non-citizens, but its plan goes further than the others by allowing virtually anyone, including potentially foreign diplomats, to vote in city affairs. The 260 to 162 vote was bipartisan, with 42 Democrats joining Republicans. A second vote to derail a rewrite of D.C. criminal laws had a similar result, with the House voting 250 to 173 to stop that legislation. 31 Democrats joined Republicans in the effort. President Biden is vowing never to reduce entitlements, staking out the position in a battle with House Republicans over spending cuts and raising the nation's debt ceiling. It's a reversal of his position in the 1980s and 90s as a senator, Dave Boyer reports, when Biden embraced proposed cuts to Social Security and Medicare to balance the federal budget. The president knows that seniors love a pledge against cutting entitlements, and they tend to be the most reliable voting bloc. Biden repeated his promise Thursday in the swing state of Florida, where 21% of residents are seniors, the highest percentage in the nation. You can read all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of Washington Times podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. North Korea rolled 11 intercontinental ballistic missiles through the heart of its capital in a parade this week, more than ever have been publicly displayed by the Kim Jong-un regime in one space before. The spectacle, Andrew Salmon reports, was held to mark the 75th anniversary of the founding of North Korea's army. It came weeks after belligerent rhetoric from the North Korean leader, his efforts to elevate his country's nuclear program, and rising tensions with the Biden administration and its allies in the region. A South Korean military spokesperson said that South Korean and U.S. military officials were closely analyzing the North Korean photos and reports to evaluate any advances in their capabilities. Top Republican senators say that their Democratic counterparts directed the FBI to shut down their investigation into how the Justice Department botched the Trump-Russia investigation in 2020. Kerry Pickett reports Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley said senior Democrats falsely told the FBI that he was being manipulated by Russian disinformation. When the FBI held a secret briefing for Grassley and Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, Grassley said it was leaked to the press to try to discredit the work the senators were doing. Grassley was one of the witnesses in the first public hearing of the House Judiciary Committee's new subpanel called the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. The panel has been tasked with exposing attempts to use the power of the government to silence debates and investigations. And finally, Super Bowl 57 kicks off Sunday evening in Glendale, Arizona, a warm winter city that's traditionally been the NFL's preference for its signature event. Matt Paris reports the league wants new stadiums and has been using the game over the past decade to reward cities that build them. 8 of the 9 newest stadiums in the NFL have hosted a Super Bowl. The 9th, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, hosts the game next year. Even cold weather cities such as New York and Minnesota have been able to get in on the hosting game because of new stadiums. That bodes well for the Washington area to host its first Super Bowl if the Commanders can ever land a facility to replace FedEx Field, where their lease ends in 2027. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.